Welcome to the Intentional Athlete Podcast, where strength is more than a number on the bar. I'm your host, Ross Leppala, powerlifter, coach, and co-creator of the Intentional Athlete Experience. This show is for lifters, movers, and seekers who know that what happens in the gym echoes into your life. We explore how to train with purpose, live with clarity, and channel the pursuit of strength into something deeper, something transformative. Each episode, we'll dive into conversation, tools, and insights that help you align your mindset, body, and spirit. Because real growth doesn't just happen under the barbell. It happens in your mind, in your breath, and in your choices. This is about more than just PRs. This is about presence, power, and progress that lasts. Welcome to the journey, my friend. Welcome to the Intentional Athlete Podcast. Hey, what's up, my friends? Welcome back to the Project Unchained podcast. I'm your host, Ross Leppala. Today, I have special guest and my friend Steve Celi on the show, known as Energy Steve. I got to meet Steve a few weeks ago back at a business marketing entrepreneur event, and it was really fantastic. Steve and I hit it off. I'm really stoked about the guy. He's got a lot of cool ideas, a lot of cool concepts, and a cool story. Not a power lifter, which makes it great for me because I love to hear how there's the correlations behind doing things intentionally that matter for the different things that you do. Imagine that, right? Like, that's why we are here. And Energy Steve he likes to talk about energy. And the thing that I really like about that is no matter what the context of the situation is, we're always contributing to it. And we contribute to it by way of how we show up. And if we show up from a positive attitude, we're going to contribute to that experience in a positive way. And that is always going to help that outcome, help that experience be the highest it can possibly be. That's going to matter in your training. It's going to matter in your work, your profession, your relationships, everywhere you go. That's going to help you and matter. So I was really excited to have this conversation with Energy Steve, and I will make sure to post up his Spotify link in the show notes because he's got some really fun songs, and I encourage you to check those out. As I told Steve in our conversation, I'm not much of a rap guy. I'm quite a bit more of a metalhead, but definitely a big fan of the work that he's putting into his craft and his music and his rapping. So really excited to get to chat with him. Without further ado, y'all, Energy Steve. There's that. I'd like to set this before we get too far into it. All right. Steve, my brother, how you doing today, man?
So good. Happy to be here.
Yeah, man. It's exciting times, exciting times. What have you been up to?
Creating a lot of music, really focused on my role as an entertainer. I know when we met, I did a little performance for that weekend, and now just really open to all forms that takes and networking with people to see what I can do. I just love hosting and I love being a performer. The latest mantra for myself is just perform and transform.
Perform and transform. Love it, man. Love it. Yeah, it was definitely going into that weekend. I guess background for other people, we were going to be helping. We had different roles in this Accelerate event from Julie Jones. It's a business marketing event, and I didn't really know what to expect going into it, but it was definitely very different than what expectation I didn't have, especially your part. I had no idea that we were going to
Yeah.
get a little rap concert performance. I had no
hmm
idea that was about to happen. It was a ton of fun. And, have since listened to a bunch of your different music. And like I said before
Uh,
the other day, I'm more of a metalhead, like Mudvayne,
yeah.
Slipknot, Pantera. That's like, let's put that on and sling some weight. But I definitely really dug a lot of your songs, and
Mm.
it's a lot of fun. I love the vibe.
Thanks a lot, dude. Yeah, on that note, real quick, is that I had no plans to do a full performance, basically. It was kind of like at first just speaking, and I'm like, part of me is like, I have to rap, and Caitlin's like, you gotta at least rap one or two songs. And by the end, it went like, it completely flipped to like, I'm barely speaking, just all rapping. So it's fun.
Yeah, man. That what's really cool to hear you say that is similarly, like I had my speech that I gave prepared. It initially was a motivational speech for a speech competition through Toastmasters.
Mm,
And right away when Julie opened the event with her speech of like, oh, well, I had this plan, I had this presentation, and on the way here I said, oh, that's not right. I'm going to throw it out and just wing it.
mm.
Like that permission to be creative with my speech in the moment was so cool because it ended up coming across in a wildly different way than what it was prepared for. And I think at
Mm,
the end of the day, it was better that way for that group of people.
yeah. Totally, man. I felt the same, and I feel like that's what we'll get into today is that we all just kind of followed what our highest energy was or like what lit us up. At least that's what I did when I came to the speech. I'm like, I really want to serve the people, and I know the best way that I can serve is that if I'm the most lit up by what I'm talking about, not trying to fit a box, just like what lights me up.
Yeah, totally, man. I think it's cool. Like the way the where I want to start here is like the confidence to be able to do something like that is not, it's not gifted to you. It's something that you have to cultivate and create and earn
Mm,
in your lifetime. And I know, and I want to, we'll back it up for everybody that's listening. There's some resonation with that for you because you didn't start out
mm,
necessarily as a rapper. You started
yeah,
out talking about wanting to be able to dunk a basketball.
yeah,
So like, what is that? Let's all the way back to the
yeah.
beginning.
I'll
What,
jump into it.
where's Steve from?
Yeah, great question. And I'll start with confidence. What really shifted for me, I started trying to dunk back in 2011. I was 17 or 18, and the biggest perspective shift on what confidence is, I used to see confidence as like people have this thing and they're confident. And now I've been said I'm confident the way I approach a stage. I feel way more confident in my body. I've coached hundreds of people to be more confident in who they are, which I'll get into. And what it came to me is that the ability to hold more fear and more doubt and more judgments and still go forward. So it's
Mm,
not removing them, it's almost just able to hold more and stay centered and confident doing what you're doing. So for wrapping all the way to the present day is like no matter how scared I am, I'm going to do what I know is true. So it just feels like a deeper trust in yourself rather than like, oh no, I'm just better at what I'm doing. It's like, no, it's actually like even more scary or more possible risk, yet you still stay grounded. So I got through that from dunking. My first chapter of my life, I was about 17, 18. I just decided I'm going to try to dunk. And I go back even further because I grew up as the short kid out of all my friends. It was always on like low rims and low hoops, and we'd lower the hoop that I started to
yeah.
shine because as the short one, it's like you're the underdog. This is where I really learned my one of my zone of geniuses or something that fueled me, which I
Right.
actually had to overcome later, which was
How,
like, I'm the short one. I'm not supposed to dunk on you. I'm the short one. It's probably easy for you to dunk on me. So it's like I can't lose here. It
right.
was like a win-win for me.
Short. Where, what is your height?
I'm 5'10" now.
5'10" now. And so
Mhm.
shorter at that.
Yeah, I was shorter and also just like growing up, I was always like behind. I was very late blooming to everybody. So like I even started to see my posture kind of lower down and like feel like taller people knew better or like just never did that. But sports is where I was able to push that because if you performed well, it didn't really matter your height. I played football and basketball was a tough one because I think that was my ultimate love always.
Hmm.
Yet I you just grew up watching the NBA, seeing everybody over 6 feet. The tallest people are there. So if you're the shortest out of all the people, it wasn't like,
Right.
oh, I'm gonna go for this. It's like, oh, it's not possible. Like that's kind of what dunking took me was like, it went from is this possible or not? It's to shattering all of that to say anything's possible. It's just what you believe. So the quick story of the dunking is that one day I saw my friends trying to dunk in high school and taller kids and nobody looked like me. And then one day I'm like, I wonder if I could just touch the rim. Ran, jumped, touched it after a few weeks or a few tries. Then I'm like, if I could hang on the rim, just like grab the rim, hang on it, that will be a huge milestone for me because the same pros that I watch in the NBA, my 5'10" white self can hang on that rim. It felt like a huge accomplishment. I did that. And what that really opened up for me was like, oh, I think this is a skill that I can train. Before that, there was a gap where it's like you are able to jump high or you're not. Followed that thread, got my own first dunk, and then just is like, okay, got my first dunk. Now it's like the floodgates are open. Let's see how far I can take this. Fast forward 10 years, and I increased my vertical about 14 or more inches. So I went from like barely touching the rim to touching 11 foot two, I believe it was, on a
Oh,
vertec
whoa.
like thing. I was able
Yeah.
to record a 42.5-inch vertical, which was really sick.
Yeah.
Windmill dunks, some game dunks, and just competed in a bunch of competitions, trained a lot of people to get their first dunk. And then the other fun side of my journey was that I documented the whole thing. So in 2011, I filmed every day, not every day that I trained, but like since day one, I filmed.
Yeah.
And quick side quest was that when I got my job in 2016 as a corporate IT analyst, I'm like, this is not for me. I had been filming YouTube videos for 5 years, but no speaking. I was just kind of filming my training, and people were blowing up on YouTube. I was a big fan of Casey Neistat vlogging every day, and I'm like, I would love this to be my job rather than that. So for the first time, I turned the camera on me and like speaking instead of just my training.
Yeah.
Started making vlogs, and I fell in love with that. I fell in love with making them fun. I fell in love with storytelling. I fell in love with sharing my journey, and my YouTube channel took off. So, all the way up until 20, let's say, I don't even know where it's at now, but it grew over to 50,000 subscribers now, and it has over 13 million views on that channel. And it's led to all my opportunities as a content creator. It's led to helping hundreds of kids dunk, if not thousands. Like I've had people all over the world dunk. We launched Dunk Camp. I shouldn't say I launched it, but the guy who inspired me, his name was Andy Nicholson. He was 5'9" at the time, 5'10", white dude. He was like 39 when I was 17. He showed his progress and he dunked. So it made it possible for me. And then after me doing it, I'm like, oh, he just made me believe in myself. So what went from I see it possible that now I believe it's possible, that like after the dunk journey, how far I took my vertical, I'm like, it's not, I don't need to see it possible. I need to believe anything and then I'll see it in this reality. So, Dunk Camp is a summer camp every year that I started out as a pro dunker and coach, and I transitioned into a speaker there. So I speak there every year and just teach kids kind of what we're talking about, like how to find what their zone of genius is and how to believe in themselves and their confidence. So, yeah, it led to so many opportunities, personal developments, and it led to my rapping. But I could pause there if there's any thoughts there where you want to jump
Yeah,
in.
definitely. Because you mentioned Zone of Genius, and I know that's from some work of Gay Hendricks.
Hmm.
And I don't want to derail us too far down a Gay Hendricks rabbit hole, but I will recommend anybody listening check him out. His work is beautiful. The
Uh,
question and thought is that you're having this dunk camp, and you're talking about helping the participants find their zone of genius. So it sounds like there's a whole lot more going on at that camp than just teaching somebody how to jump as high as possible.
yeah. So when I was in my corporate job 2016 2019, those 3 years I was trying to escape. So I was trying to do everything. I was trying to coach. And what happened is every person I tried to coach to dunk, not every person, but so many, they wanted to know how to jump higher the fastest. They wanted to know the best workouts. They wanted to know like exactly how many reps. And it didn't sit right with me. And I would teach them that. But then they didn't have the energy. They were tired or they lose motivation. And I was like, why is that? Because they would ask me, how do I have so much motivation? How do I have so much energy to do it? To eat right, to sleep right, to do it with a 9 to 5 job. And I realized like, oh, this is just something I love so much that like I
Yeah.
I can't live without. And
Yeah.
like the other things became a byproduct of that love. It wasn't like, oh, you're so disciplined. It's like, no, if you love something so much. So over the years of being frustrated, I realized I don't want to help people train the best reps. I think we may have talked about this in person too. And it kept coming back to their energy because I would say, what is the thing that lights you up the most? Because if you stay connected to that vision of yourself, then it's going to fire you up every single day. So to your question of what do I teach at the dunk camp, that's why I transitioned to a speaker there because everyone at the camp, the coaches are teaching about how to keep your tendons healthy, how to train, how to load, how to jump higher, jump technique. We coach them so much actual dunk technique, which is a whole nother skill. And I'm the guy that's teaching them about like selves, like understanding their mindset and understanding their energy. And I love that because it like the question I always ask in to start my talks there, which I love because I think it really throws them off. And I say, and you could answer this question for yourself if you're listening, is when do you become a pro? And in this case, it's for dunkers. So there is pro dunkers out there, and you could say basketball players or whatever athlete. When do you become a pro? A lot of people answer when you get this much money, when you win this many competitions, when you've been doing it for 5 years. And the answer is you become a pro now. And I say that because LeBron James, he didn't get drafted and then become a pro. He has to be a pro when he's in high school or earlier because he's got to train like it now to become that person. You don't become it once you get the title. The title's
Yeah.
the result.
Yeah. Yeah. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I definitely love that there's more going on than just dunking. And that's
Yeah.
like the core premise behind the podcast here with the intentional athlete is
Mm,
you ought to be getting more than just a PR. There's more there, but you have to do it on purpose. You have to do it with intention or you're going
hmm
to miss so many possibilities. And I think one of the things that I also really like to highlight here is how you're talking about not being tired and this whole discipline thing. I love that because when I stopped training at a gym and started doing the home gym thing, and everybody's like, "Oh, I don't know how you keep the motivation." And I'm like, I don't need motivation at
Yeah.
all ever. Like there's just I'm going to train regardless of how I feel,
hmm
period, because it's something
Yeah.
I love to do. And the only way that that would ever transition or change is if there was some kind of sustained lack of energy and being down
Mm.
that is signaling maybe I need to make a shift, that there's something that I'm not connected to. And that's one of the big fundamental reasons why I like to promote the why. Why do you train? Why do you lift? You don't have to know the answer to that question, but that should be something that you seek to answer
Yes.
because that
Yes.
foundational why, outside, distinctly different from the outcome, is going to be the thing that drives everything.
Yes. I love that. And the way I always, that's where I kind of came up with my own phrase of being the energy. Because
Yeah.
if you think about, you let your mind say, what do you want to achieve? Let's say a lot of these guys I trained wanted to dunk. It's like, what does that feel like? And do you like that person? Some people are like, oh, I want to prove to this person. Or it's like, then I'll finally be confident. It's like, okay, well, you want to be that energy. It's not even about that thing. Because I've had some people like, what do I need to dunk for? I don't need to dunk. It's just like a waste of time. I have kids. I don't need, but it's, you're building that energy of that version of you. And so let yourself go towards this really fun goal because it's more about the energy and who you're becoming. And that's your why.
Yeah. Two things. Energy Steve obviously is your like your name, your MO, your rapper name. I wonder one, where does that come from? Two,
Hmm
where how does a person connect with the idea? Let's say that they don't know anything about like energy and what that's like and they're like,
Yeah.
what's this fucking guy talking about energy?
Yeah.
Like people all these new age people are talking about energy and it's annoying, it's dumb, I don't get it.
Totally.
What is it? Where's
Yeah.
energy Steve come from and what is that energy that you're talking about that you got to be that energy?
Mm. Love that. I'll start with, I guess I'll start with my story of how my name came. So I started to train people like that, and I realized I wanted to teach that part of it, like motivation, confidence. To me, that is energy. It's what lights you up. And how do you maximize that? How do you have the most fun? It's a vibration, which we'll get into of the whole universe. And so for me, after that, I quit my job and I was living with my mom for a couple months, and I lived in my own apartment in Hollywood, Florida. 3 years of doing the solo entrepreneurship, doing content creation for people, and coaching on the side as well. I was like, I need community, and I felt the call to find community. And my friend was in California at the time, and I visited him, and I never left. I literally was on a 2 day trip. My heart was on fire, and I just said, I'm staying here. It's too exciting. And it was terrifying, and it was the best decision ever. And during that time, I was meeting so many people and we're hosting community events. And I was dunking for 10 years at that point. I wanted to switch my Instagram. I wanted to switch my whole identity as a person. So I was like, I think my Instagram was Steven Selly at the time or Steven Dunks or something. But I was meeting so many people and I wanted a new word. And like when I would meet somebody and they would like, we're trying to build community, get people to our, we were doing a weekly potluck. We were doing events at the house. We're trying to grow. I would meet people and I would just tell them I'm Steven Energy Steve. And I was like, that's because I would come with such excitement. I'm like, I'm Energy Steve. I would just say it. And people would ask me so much over my YouTube years, like, how do you have so much energy? It was just a word that came to me. And then when I started meeting people, I made my Instagram be the Energy Steve. And I was telling people that that's who I am. And it was just marketing. I had years of marketing in my brain too from running a digital marketing agency. And I'm like, I just need to make this simple. And that's what I love about creation and expressing and using my voice is sometimes I'm saying things and creating and it creates itself. So I was just
Mm-hmm.
trying to be smart and keep it simple And then I'm like, that it just worked. Like when I told people, like, I can't tell you how many times people see me on the street and I say something fun to them. I'm like, oh, it's great to meet you. I'm Energy Steve. Find me on, we both don't have our phones. I'm like, just find Energy Steve. And they find me because it's easy to remember and it kind of is who I am. So that's kind of my short answer of how my name is. And then this will also tie in why I chose it and why it felt right is that over the years of the dunking, becoming who I was, it was just like, it made me question who I am because I'm in this job that I don't like. I'm like, what do I actually want to do with my life? And then because I was selling so far into this athletic potential, I was dialing in my nutrition, my mindset. I was learning about mindfulness. That because of those practices to get so good as an athlete, it made me really question who I am. Because I'm like, this is how I want to do this. So questioning who I am really started to open up that question of like, what am I doing here on earth? What's the greatest way to do this? And I started seeking, reading books, watching podcasts, and just that question kept making me think like, I just want to be the highest vibration I can. If the universe is a vibration, if we are all energy, and that's my view is that the whole universe is mostly energy and we are all one with that energy. I want to just be in the highest vibration. And it doesn't even mean happy all the time. It doesn't even mean doing all the time. To me, the highest vibration is your presence and you're just fully alive with life. So, after shifting my life coaching into energy coaching, again, this was another shift because of what people kept saying about me. When they would come for me for coaching, I'd be offering like, "Oh, I'll help you excel in your business, or I'll help you find your partner." People would just come to me and be like, "I just want more energy in my life. I'm feeling drained. I'm feeling burnt out. I want more energy. I want to feel more alive." So it kind of was a co-creation with everybody I've ever interacted with. And the last thing I'll say about that is I now help people and what my view of what energy is. Oh, I lost you for a sec. I'm gonna pause until Ross comes back.
I think I'm back.
He's back. The energy was
Yeah.
too high.
Yeah, the energy's been too high for my Wi-Fi all day. It's been
Oh my goodness.
super annoying, but
Yeah, I was just finishing up on what energy means to me. So now it's just living with a passion, living fully alive, living your excitement. Excitement is such a great word that I love because I would tell people is like we can get caught up so often in the cultural field and what we should do and survival. And there's like a new wave now, the intentional athletes. There's, yes, we want to work hard and we're so disciplined and we're ambitious. And how do we do it with excitement and passion and that fire? And I truly believe we all have that fire within us and it's ignited. And maybe you had it like for me, I'm following childhood dreams still. Dunking was one of them. Now rapping's another one. And so at my questions I always ask is like, when's the one of the first times you felt alive or just pure joy? You were just having fun. What were you doing? When have you been so excited? Like when I would dunk, what's special about rapping now is like when I would dunk and land one, it was like I'd scream and get hype, and there's not many arenas I do that in. And now with rapping, like my latest music video, I'm screaming and I'm getting so hype, and I feel like I get to perform and express myself. So it's like, what's that ultimate excitement? Like, what makes you want to celebrate? One of my songs is called "The Greatest Day of All Time," G Dote, and it's all about celebrating today. So I always like the practice of let your physical mind, the limited mind, the survival mind, just be like, what would make your life feel like the greatest day of all time? And when you think of that, you make the money, you got the relationship, you achieve something amazing, a physical feat, you hit that new PR in your gym. Like, what does that feel like? Like, that to me is your highest energy. And then how do you bring that into today? What would you do? What would that version of you do today? What would that version of you say today? And then the juice is like really acting on it, even though it feels
yeah,
insane. I'll leave it
that's
there.
yeah, that's fantastic.
Thank you, dude.
I am going to hit stop and
Hmm.
hit record again because it's kind of showing me some weird stuff, and I just want to hit reset here. Interesting.
Because it's recording on my end now.
Okay. Well, we'll roll with it. It's just not showing me that it's
Roll.
uploading. So
I
on
saw it
for
at the
you,
bottom for a second on the first one.
it's weird. Anyway, we'll roll with it. You know, I really appreciate that idea of what that's like for a lot of different reasons, and one of them that comes to mind, relating it back to that weekend that we met, and Brooke was talking about energy and being responsible for your energy and kind of choosing your energy. like, and Vanessa's told me that before, but just the way that she said it, it connected something a little bit
Mm.
differently before. And, you know, I felt bad because like Vanessa said it to me a million times. And
Yeah.
here now it finally got through my fucking thick skull. But then what really finally connected the dot was listening to some of Gay Hendricks' work. And
Mm.
so now this way that I see it is, you know, you have mood and you have an emotion or a feeling. And an emotion or feeling is something that's temporary. It's moment to moment. It's always constantly changing. It's always ebbing and flowing. Versus your mood is like how you're really choosing to show up. Are you choosing to show up happy no matter what the fucking circumstance is or what the situation is?
Yeah.
Cool. That's high energy. And
Yes.
like that doesn't mean that you can't also experience sadness, but are you going to experience sadness from an elevated state? And
Yes.
man, that changes so
Taking
much
notes.
stuff to be able to like wake up and choose to have a good mood and be in a good mood and continually choose that despite whatever things happen in life throughout the day. Because the way I've been seeing it and experiencing it a lot better is as I've been a lot more intentional about choosing that mood. And anytime life kind of slaps me around with little interruptions and this or that, I been trying to reground myself back to, hey, you're choosing your mood right now. I'm way
Love that.
less reactive to dumb little things that just simply don't matter, that don't need to disrupt my day. And as a result, I have a lot more fun. Well, imagine that.
Mm.
And there's been several things that have happened since that weekend that I'm like, oh, whoa, now I get and see how this creates the way I'm experiencing and how it moves roadblocks. I had I've often complained to Vanessa, like, I don't know what my workload's going to be because my email load is always fluctuating. And some days it's really high, some days it's not, and all this stuff and blah, blah, blah. Through a lot of this, like, okay, I need to detach my fixation on time and this limited
Mm.
availability. And literally, since I did that, my emails every day have been easy. They've been flowing and just it's like, whoa, all this stuff is just like clearing out of my way. So now I have capacity for all these other things. So that's been really cool and wild to see how
That's
choosing
amazing.
that mood and choosing that energy is like clearing things and making room for more.
Yeah. It's so beautiful, dude. And that's another reason I came all the way down to energy as the root, because I went from the physical body of like training, you train your body, it reacts this way or responds this way. Then there's the mindset of, I've learned so much about the subconscious mind, and you have the filter in your brain. And if it's basically like we only have a lens. And if we, like right now, if I ask anyone listening, look at all the negative things or the way things can go wrong from here, you can find them because now your brain's looking for those. And we can say, look at all the possibility. And one huge key I love to remind people is that a lot of times by default, the survival is going to look for the survival ways.
Yep.
That's the default. And when I learned that years ago and like helped so many people like get out of that, it's like, oh, that's the game. That's the choice. Is like in this moment when fear comes and you looking at the ways it's gonna go bad, you have to like really be aware to be like, oh wait, there's also all the ways it can go right.
Yeah.
And that's the balance.
100%. 100%. And like that's a really good way to frame it too. Like when you look at a lot of the brain science, and the brain is hardwired for survivalistic instincts first. It's always
Yeah.
going to survive. It's always going to go into that mode. It's default for every single human on the face of the earth. So if we can just consciously acknowledge that my initial reaction to everything is going to be from a survivalist standpoint, I can acknowledge that
Yes.
that doesn't necessarily mean that that is reality. That initial
Totally.
thought is not does not have to be reality.
That's where I bring science into the energy, because anyone that's super logical, if I say what percentage of those things are going to happen, you can't say that it's more likely that the fear ones are going to happen or the negative ones. It's completely open right now. You can say that it's always happened this way. Now that goes up to, against a new belief is like, okay, so do you judge your future based on only what's happened, or and that's another choice, or is it possible new things happen, and who do you want to be? That's what I mean by be the energy too, which is fun, is that if you want to be the person that believes in the good are going to come, you have to believe in the good is going to come. You get to choose that.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. And
Fun.
realizing too for myself that at the end of the day, no matter what, I'm a creator, and everything that I do, every
Yes.
way in which I show up, I am creating my experience. The
Love it,
circumstances
dude.
might not always be ideal, right? Like
Yeah.
get a flat tire. It's not that that's something that you really truly desired. I didn't necessarily want a flat tire, but I can choose to contribute to that experience from that point, from a higher level, from a better mood, rather than allowing the circumstances to push me all over the place.
Yeah, dude. I had a little poem this morning about loving the lows.
Mm.
Like the,
Mm.
I'll just pull it up a few of it real quick because I might make it a song after this conversation. But it was like I started off with dunks, but like bad passes make for a good dunk.
Okay.
Um, Curve balls make for better hits because you have to hit off a curveball. Losses make the win sweeter. The breakdown makes you stronger. Confusion creates clarity. A wrong turn can make for better exploring, right? So the whole point is that like the low is just the launch pad. And so like no
Mm-hmm.
matter what low happens, if you knew and you choose to be like, what if this is actually setting me up for something even better? Then the flat tire could be something that you don't even know, but you get to choose that in the moment. Like, oh, the flat tire is causing this. But if you actually wanted, this is where I think a little bit more ethereal too, is like, if I want to get stronger in the gym, I have to have resistance.
Yeah.
And I know that. And I feel like as athletes, what I love about athletes is they know that so clearly.
Yeah.
They know if they want to get stronger, you have to have more resistance. Now, in life, to make the biggest impact, to live your purpose, if you want to have the biggest impact you can, you're going to have the most resistance to that. Maybe not the most, you can have whatever story you want, but just understanding that it might not be resistance, it might just be the exact thing you need to train the muscle to be that person.
Yeah, for sure. And I think too, relating it back to the flat tire analogy, is that when the tire goes flat, if you have a choice in that moment of how you want to contribute to the rest of that experience. And if you get
Mhm.
out of your truck and you're like, oh, fuck, I got another flat tire, the rest of that experience is going to be really miserable because you're creating the rest of that experience
Yes.
based on how you're showing up with your mood. Whereas if you can
Yep.
go, man, I wonder if I can fix this flat tire faster than I fixed the last flat tire, boom, it's going to clear the fucking way and you're going to change
Uh,
that flat tire faster than you've ever changed a flat tire in your life. And then
that's so
you're going to
fun.
have a job changing tires at NASCAR making more money than you do changing oil at the 5 minute place.
That's hilarious. And that's where I say energy first. Because if it's easy to react, fuck a flat tire. But if you use your energy first protocol, whether it's listen to a song, what words are you saying? Change your perspective, change your posture, change your energy and put that first. Like, how am I getting in an activated state? Then you're gonna see all those things you're talking about. You're gonna be able to say, like, oh, maybe I could change this fast. You're gonna have new ideas. So that's how I think we could really make shifts. It's like, how do you get your energy right for any moment? Keep coming more aware of that.
Right. When did you first start like learning and seeing some of that and making some of those
Yeah.
shifts in your own life?
The dunk journey, I was doing it early on. I didn't know it was more energy work of like trying to maximize. I was seeing it all as energy as like physical because I had a 9 to 5 job and I was like, there was some days I was just so tired to go hit the gym. And And then there was times where I was like hustling to get more YouTube videos out because I was trying to escape the job. I'm like, I can't sustain this. So it started to make it went from like physical to the mindset of like I can't do that. Then it to my belief systems and identity. So I'd say that was like the later stages of the dunk journey. I started to really notice my belief systems about life and myself. And then when I learned about the subconscious when I studied life coaching, that was a big one in 2019. And then at that same time, started getting into books, and one of the biggest ones for me was Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Dr. Joe Dispenza.
Great
And he
book.
talks about the quantum self, the energy state, how you're an energetic being. So then I started kind of connecting like mindset belief with your own frequency. And we're not just like a physical body, we're an energetic being as well. And connecting that with the subconscious was like, oh wow, like if we're vibrating at a let's use one of my favorites is like the tuning a dial of a radio. If we're in a different vibration, we're going to get different signals and different yes. And so that's when it really started to like connect the energetic spiritual to the scientific and subconscious.
Yeah. Fantastic. Fantastic.
Cool.
That's I mean, but that's one of the things I think is really cool and important to highlight again is like you're going on this dunk journey and whether you really realize it or not in the early stages, like it's laying some of that foundational
Yes.
work for
Oof.
you to be able to make that shift. And I know like that's how I look at it with lifting. I lifted for many, many years and got therapy and finally went through that transformational journey. And I remember having a conversation with a friend and feeling guilty. And he's like, yeah, but you learned what you needed to learn from that to
Yes.
pad you, right? This launch pad off the low to
Yep.
go to that next high.
Hell yeah.
And
Steve Jobs is you can only connect the dots looking back.
yeah, right. And like that's again, that's the subtle shift, I think, is being able to, in that moment, instead of going, oh no, this is a horrible thing, going, oh, how can I make this a great thing?
Yeah. So good. A lot of my path too has been trusting that joy and the high vibration because so often I think, especially generations before us, you work so hard to get to a certain level and it's with burnout and it's like
Mm.
doing more equates impact more or more success, but you can't do that inevitably. Like you can't keep doing more. So you have to start being more. And for me, that is trusting what lights you up as the source of your highest prosperity, abundance, impact, service. And that's where I see a lot of people are stepping into that unknown because nobody in the past, not as many people in the past, really took that route. And it feels like fun. I'm just having fun. Like when I rap, it's like it lights me up. It feels selfish. I hear a lot. It feels like it's not the right path because it's too easy. But it's also the most courageous. It's also, if you truly believe in the energy or like can understand how it works, if you're truly lit up from a soul standpoint, that's your highest vibration. That's going to be your greatest impact. So I just love reminding people to give themselves permission to follow that joy because the joy is going to be beyond the logical mind. So if you're trying to analyze where joy is taking you, you'll never let yourself go towards it.
You know, I couldn't help but think about the old saying, find something that you like to do, figure out how to get paid for it, and you'll never work a day in your
Mm,
life. And I remember hearing that all the time growing up. And I guess I never thought to ask the question, but it's a lot simpler and easier to understand that now. But like, how do you determine that? What drives
yeah.
you to that? How do you know what that thing is?
Hmm.
And as you're saying, it's that joy. I just I
Yeah.
I like to do this.
I love that, dude. I have a few tactics I use now because I've tried so I really want to help people live their dream. And so like I kind of hinted at it earlier, which is one thing like what did you do as a kid? If you had free time, what did you do over and over again? The next one is in the now. Do stuff. Just do things you enjoy. Dance, don't think, dance, make some music, lift some weights, go for a run, have a dinner party, travel. Like, just do those things because you're going to gather data. That's what the Steve Jobs quote, you can only connect the dots going backwards. That means you have to create dots.
Yeah.
So start creating dots. And then the next one is the future. In the future, use your mind to say you've made it, you've done it, you have the family, you have the success, you have the money, you have the time. What would you do then? So these are all tactics to help you get clues. And so for me, I've been there's for me I feel like there's a spectrum of creation where it's like I can create a million different things and sometimes I don't stick to them. And then some people overanalyze so much they don't even start creating anything. Now you want to be in the middle where it's like you're trying different things, but you're also mastering stuff. So how do you find that? For me, it's like I've done so many things, and when I keep coming back to what do I just love to do, I see the patterns of what I keep coming back to. Like I've done podcasting for almost 10 years now, like different episodes, and I love it every time. And so that's one. Music, I would make songs. Sometimes I would try singing or something, right? And then I just would like try it once or twice every few months, and it would just fall off. I would try piano like once every 2 years, it falls off, but I'll get like super inspired. So I let myself go there, but then I look back at like all the ones that stick. Dunking was an easy one, right? I didn't care about any other sport once I was dunking. And now with rapping, it's like I keep trying all these different routes or different creations, but rapping is like something like over time, I keep feeling that urge to do it. So it's like building a relationship with inspiration.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So what do you do when you're worried about the outcome of these efforts?
That's a great question. the outcome we can never determine anyway.
Hmm.
So I love to tell myself is who am I being in this moment? Because I don't want to choose what I do now based on an outcome. So for example, just the simple example is like, do I want to do this job for money? Well, I don't want to be somebody that does things for money. Who do I want to be? I want to be the person that does something because it lights them up and trusts that that light brings in the money. So you get to be that person. So for me, it helps to get really clear on like what I'm acting on now. And I like to think of both outcomes. If it goes really poorly, if it goes amazing, how do I feel? If it goes poorly, a lot of times I'm like, I'm glad I took the risk, right? I'm just happy I've done it. And if it goes amazing, if it fires me up more than anything, that's what I've chosen to say that's who I want to be.
Yeah.
Because some people, and I've had that block in the past where it's like, even though it lights me up, it's like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't make me money. It's like, I don't care. I want to live a life that's fully alive.
Yeah, definitely. That's wonderful. I like that. It was also somewhat of a loaded question because I was curious if you were going to go the Gay Hendricks route since we've been talking
Oh,
about
there's
him and
another
he's come up a
genius.
little bit.
I'm
Yeah,
just pause my camera. Keep going.
he one of his phrases really helped me shift a lot of my worry because I've definitely been a bit of a worrier in my day,
Mm,
and he had the sentence that a worry doesn't help you solve problems. All a worry can do is crimp the flow of positive creativity. And
ooh,
I'm like, oh man, that's so good. I love that, and I've been really trying to lean into that even more in a lot of other places. For example, doing the options trading as a way to like supplement and augment my revenue generation. Well, I've traded a lot from a place of worry and worry of
yeah.
the risk and worry if I'm going to lose this trade or lose that trade. And it creates just a fucking boatload of stress. And I've been trying, like, I can see how it works. I see, like, how
Yeah.
to read the chart and when to go in and when to get out and stuff like that. Like, I analytically see it. But the emotional part, the worry drives so many other things. And with letting go of the worry, since I've let go of the worry, I've had a positive green week, like 7 weeks in a row.
Wow.
Like it's happening. I'm like, it's letting go of the worry. Like, yes, I still
Yeah.
lose trades. I still have red days. That's going to happen. There's going to be, like, it's impossible to bat
Yeah.
100%. But are you able to bat high enough that it is worth the swing every time?
Yep.
Yes. Yes. When I let go of the worry, when I stop operating from a place of worry, yes. And I bring that too into coaching and talk about that with lifters. Like you're not going to be able to produce your highest outcome in your athletic expression if you're worried whether you're going to miss or not.
Right.
Has to come from a better place. And that's the
Hmm.
choice. And that's like that his phrase, like, man, I feel like that like cleared a whole lot of cobwebs out of the way.
So good. So good. Yeah. I was talking in basketball terms, someone asked me, like, how do you have the confidence to take the last shot of a basketball game? And
Mm-hmm.
the answer I had was two parts. Was one, you've taken more reps than anybody else. Like you've one, maybe you've had enough experience in games, but like the one of the reps, like in practice, you've taken so many shots that you've done all you can. You feel like you've put it all out there to do it. And two, you have to let go of the outcome and be really okay with losing. So that way there's no pressure. It's like that pressure is what really keeps you like this. But if you're like, get excited by it, you could be really present in the moment and react to the moment. But if you're worried about the outcome, the way I like to put it is worrying about the outcome is some of your energy is in the future, in that, instead of all here right now. Because if you had no worries, you'd be flowing and dancing
Yeah.
and like not thinking. But if you're present, all of your energy's here and you're going to perform your best when you're fully present.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you're in your future, that's going to distract you from the present moment, which is your input. And the
Uh,
best possible outcome is always going to be from your best possible input. And to give your best
mm,
possible input means that you need to be in that present moment
yeah.
and not in the future with any kind of worries. And like the thing that's beautiful about sports and about the like dunking and taking the last shot is that same thing that just taught you that in that present moment, to be present with that last shot and not in the future and worry about the outcome, applies to having the best relationships with your family, with your partner, with your
Mm.
kid. And like, I see that with my daughter. I know
Ah,
right away when I'm in it with her. I can tell
ah,
by the way she like gives me feedback, and
that's
it's
amazing.
really neat.
That's so amazing, dude. I couldn't agree more. And that goes back to like even finances when things get low or things get tough. It's if you're removing that worry and have a practice of trying not to come from a place of worry and coming from a place of presence, then no matter what happens, you're still becoming that vessel that doesn't have that energetic in it. It's
Mhm.
another reason why I love teaching the energetics because if you don't work on the energetics, then and you get the outcome you wanted and forced it, you're bringing that energetic into the next thing. We all know that trap of you want the money to feel good because you don't have enough. You feel like you don't have enough money. When you get more money, that's your new baseline. You're still going to feel like you don't have enough. So you got to work on that feeling and the energy. And that's what helps me go into that unknown and let go of outcomes. It's like it doesn't matter what it is. I want to fix that or I want to get whole there.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. That's definitely another good way to look at it. And I think I'm not sure how to ask this or get your opinion on it, but for so many years of my life, as much as sports has given to me, it's also been a major source of a distraction
Hmm.
in that, like, I used to watch every single football game every Sunday, all
Yeah.
Sunday long, and just drowned myself in it because it was fun and I love football
Yeah.
and all that kind of stuff. And it wasn't until a couple years ago that I was watching the game, and it was just Rosalie and I, and she wanted to play. She didn't want me to sit there and be glued to the TV. She wanted my attention. And I had this like moment of realization. I'm like, man, this is not adding the value to my life. I'm going to shut it off and I'm done. And I
Wow.
literally gave up football that day. I watch some
Wow.
games from time to time,
Yeah.
maybe one or two a year, the Super Bowl usually, but not like it used to be. Not every Sunday,
Yeah.
not every Sunday, all Sunday long. So like,
Oh,
and there's so much of that all over the world. It doesn't have to be
yeah.
sports. It can be Netflix. It can be all kinds of things. We choose to use so many things to distract us. But I also see a bigger shift in a lot of the different people that I hang out with in choosing to not have all these distractions. Like, what do you see? How do you see some of that stuff?
I think you said it perfectly. It's so beautiful. The word distraction is so big because before it wasn't a distraction to you yet, right? At least in the way you told the story, it's like maybe you were distracted, but at some level you were just getting something from it. And then when your daughter came in, that became a distraction because you want to be this person.
Hmm.
And then that's why it's so beautiful that you be able to recognize that because to me, your identity shifted instantly because you're like, I don't want to be distracted from my daughter. That's a huge motivation. Your why shifted,
Yeah.
right? Because if that why didn't shift, what people would ask me of is like, I want to stop watching football. And they would just try to turn the TV off, and just not watch it. And that's just like fighting the external. But if you change the why, it makes all the habits change from
Mm.
that. So for me, I just heard that you had the awareness that you were not living what was true to you, your highest energy. And when you found that, it's easy to stop the football. Of course, you might miss it and feel the pull of those other things, but the daughter feels like so much of a pull. And that's another thing I love about motivation. I think Tony Robbins says this a lot. It's like you don't want to push for motivation, you want it to pull you, like your motivation, your higher energy, your higher self is pulling you there, and it's just removing all these distractions, removing all the things in the way. And that's made my life flow so much better because it doesn't feel like I have to make everything happen. I have to push constantly. It's actually a removing, which is so much easier to just let go. I love Michael Singer's version of that too. There's a life force energy coursing through you like a river from your creations, everything you're doing, and there's just rocks we've put in the way of old stories or old habits, and we don't have to make the river flow. We just have to remove the rocks in the way. The river will flow.
I like that. I like that a lot. Like, similarly to what we were talking about a couple of sentences ago with the finding something that you like in figure out a way to get paid and you don't have to work a day in your life. And like, what is the
Yeah.
thing that lets you know that that you're doing that, and that's that joy,
Mm,
that's that flow. And I like that we're just needing to remove things rather than gain things, because as you say,
yes.
that is easier. That does make the
Yeah.
process easier. And I think
Yeah.
that's one of the fundamental limitations that a lot of people have, is that they're trying to take rather than remove.
That's big. I think just gonna double check this is still recording because I want to this I have a good nugget you just helped me get back to,
Nice.
which was this life force energy. I think the ultimate thing is I believe in a life force energy, and the easiest way for me to put it is nature. Like what makes a tree grow, what makes it survive, what makes it thrive. And I believe we all have that in us. Our heart's beating. When we get a cut, it heals. Like there is this life force energy. And I believe that is ending. We don't have to expand ourselves the same way a tree blossoms. It's not trying to be the biggest tree, it's just being the fullest expression of themselves. In my theory, and the way I love to live is I want to see my fullest expression. And the way I do that is just clearing my vessel for the most light to come through, the most of that light, the easiest flow of that life force energy. And that goes a little bit against that survival brain that feels like we need to make things happen and we need to hold on to these things. We need more resources. And so it's a constant dance of saying, I notice that brain that wants to survive. Of course, I want those things, but I choose to listen to that life force energy as the providing force of all those things. And that's who I want. That's like that feels like the ultimate life for me. So in the day-to-day decisions, yes, it's scary. That's what we talked about earlier. Is like confidence is still feeling that fear and doing it anyway, being courageous. And I'm so clear that I want that life force energy to be the guiding force for what I do.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. I'm excited to hear where that goes for you. Where those
Ah,
notes go in terms of your music, I would imagine that that's where that's going.
totally, man. I mean, it's in every song I make. Even the song I think you heard me perform was Looking Up. It's just a perspective shift. And what's fun about music is like, it feels like one of the best ways I serve because I love making it. And if it like just by listening to it, you might change your actual state. I think as athletes, one thing I love about state change is like if you think of that game you're playing, if you think about winning that game, if you think about like that last second shot, you might get tense right now or like feel your palms sweat. For me, that shows like a vision, a thought changes your physical body. And so you're going to feel differently now. So that to me is just like a physiological change. And when you have that change, you're going to see things differently. My music can help you change your state, which will help you change your actual perspective, which makes you see the world completely different. So it's just been fun that that actually helps people change their state and then they're actually just living a better life.
Yeah. Which then in turn, like cultivating that skill, and a great way to cultivate that skill is just practice using it,
Mhm.
which can be done in the training process for your athletic pursuits. And as you yield that skill can be applied in other areas of your life. And now you have that to bring forward into the business meeting to close the
Yep.
venture capital thing that you're pursuing, or whatever it is that you're pursuing. You can bring that. And the other thing that I really liked is how you talked about it being a state. And we know from athletics, people talk about the athletic flow state. And the athletic flow state is a stream of a powerful subconscious. It is not a worry about the future outcome. It is a flow of what you have cultivated over time in
Ooh.
your mindset. So, if you want to be the most powerful version of yourself in those regards, you have to create it.
Love that. Dude, you reminded me of a new theory I want to bring up, and it's perfect for athletes
Yeah.
because we all know it takes reps to carve patterns to
Mm-hmm.
get stronger. Now, with energy, the way I like to put it is this is your identity reps. So we see this
Mm.
future self, who we want to be as a father, a husband, a businessman, whatever it is, this huge version of you that's leaving a legacy. You don't just become that. You have to act as him now, like we started this podcast with. And
Yeah.
that's think of them as identity reps. So if you bump up against a story, I shouldn't do this, or I don't know how this is going to work, it's another rep. This is who I want to be in these moments when it gets chaotic, another rep. money is scarce or people are yelling at me or not knowing what I'm doing. Identity rep. So I just find it so cool to see it as reps. It's not like you shifted your identity with your daughter and your habits completely changed. But I'm sure there's other times, I kind of you might get a little tired. You might want to put the game on, but you're like, here's another rep right here. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but you're putting in reps and you're going to be a stronger version of your new identity, which is your true identity.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. That's all good stuff. That's all good stuff. So a little transition here. You have done all that stuff. You've made all kinds of different changes, and the dunking started a lot of this and shifted a lot of that pursuit. Now you're rapping. Like where do you go? Where do you go next? Like what is that version of
Yeah.
yourself? You talk about like seeing that bigger, grander version. Like are you the
Mm.
next? You gonna like rival Jay-Z or something like that? Like where do you go?
Yeah. I actually, at Tony Robbins, I had this breakthrough where I'm like, I want to be the greatest rapper alive. And I don't think I can be better than Drake or better than Jay-Z, but like there's something in me that wants to be the greatest rapper alive, and I realize it's my energy. And I'm not saying it's just energy for rapping, but it's like I'm not gonna maybe be like the most perfect at this version. I might not make the same hits that Drake makes or have the same stories, but it lights me so much up. It lights me up so much to do that I believe that makes me one of the greatest. And all I want to do is be the greatest me I can be. So if it's rapping that lights me up that much, I believe one, that's the greatest me, and two, that's the greatest of that role of life. So I don't know if it's fully rapping yet, but I do know it's entertaining and performing, and rapping is definitely one of those, if not the best way I do that. So the grandest version I see is just being the best entertainer I can. And what I love about it is that it reminds me of dunking, and dunking actually taught me I love this because at the end of it, I was jumping and dunking and adding music to my videos, and I love the performance aspect. And now this was like a bigger dream that I didn't even realize. And it's like, it's scarier. It feels bigger. It feels like the same stories of who am I to dunk? Who am I to rap? Who am I to like speak my voice? And it just feels even more in flow. Talk about like receiving money for doing what you love is like coaching is great. I love serving people in that way, but being a host or sharing my music or being a performer, I feel like I have even more energy to do that. And it helps even more people. And it feels like I need a team and we all have our own roles on this bigger project that's bigger than all of us. Like, say I'm an actor, it's like you can't make a whole feature film by yourself. Just simply put, you need other people in it. You know, you're not going
Yeah.
to be every single role, and so that makes it feel really expansive. I just want to keep increasing my frequency, like my impact for people, and keep being the energy that really lights me up and just living that every day. What I love about the rap journey that help it's another clue to help find what you love to do and what your purpose is like every day working on it feels as fun as that version of me that's on a stage of 10,000 people. Like having this conversation, having a new idea drop in, having a new rap performance that's in a smaller place right now, like is as exciting as that one. And I love training for it. That's actually what I was going to say last is that as the entertainer, becoming a performer, being on stage is like and even like rapping in my music video, I realized how much I love that craft. That with dunking it was like, oh, I want to master this. I want to master my footwork, my technique, my style on dunks, like all of it. And now with entertaining, like I feel that fire to get the best I can be at it. Coaching is something I love to do, but I don't have that same feeling of like I want to be the best coach from the way I like work on your mindset. That's just like one part of what I do, but it's not the same as like this entertainer that
Yeah.
feels so big. Like I want to be the best dancer or the best vocalist or be the best host on camera, have the most energy. So it's really fun when you find something that lights you, that zone of genius that I'm like, I'm excited to master this too.
Yeah, definitely. Something that I heard from your your explanation of that I really want to highlight and pull out for people to check in on with themselves for their journey. You know, like I ask you this question of what do you see this bigger, grander version of Energy Steve as and rapping? Like, is it rivaling a Jay-Z?
Hmm.
And you like mentioned having this breakthrough of like that comparison,
Yeah.
and you didn't allow that comparison to dull your energy and excitement for it, because I look at it and I think a lot of times what we do is we look at somebody who's at like the pinnacle of a similar thing that we're in, right? In this case, rapping, and people do it all the time in powerlifting. They see somebody that's better than them. They see somebody that's achieved a higher level of status and success than where you're
Yeah,
currently at. And so that becomes the aiming point. And you think of,
right.
okay, well that's the pinnacle. Yeah, I need to sell more records than Jay-Z.
Mm,
And now you start to try to be that person,
yes.
and that is going to limit who and what you can actually be because you're not being yourself. You're trying to be somebody else. And it also creates this pursuit of perfectionism, which ultimately is a limitation because it will create inaction. You will pursue perfection because you don't want to be compared as less than,
Yes.
and cause you to freeze because of worry of the outcome, which in turn crimps the flow of your own positive creativity and will limit you and not allow you to be your grandest self.
Love
Wherever
that.
that lands you, it doesn't matter. Unattachment from the outcome. You'll never get to that point if you're trying to be somebody else. The only way you can ever get to that point is just trying to be your best version of
Mm.
yourself.
So well said, dude. Yeah,
And
you
if
I
that
have a
means you
quote
sell
that
more
go ahead,
records
go
than
ahead.
Jay-Z, great, cool, awesome.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. But you'll never know and you'll never find out if you're not just trying to be the best energy Steve.
I love that, dude. It's so funny because so many people want to be somebody else, but then like or go viral. Like I always see people. I came from the content world. Everybody wants to go viral. They're following trends. I'm like, if you go viral for something you don't want to do, now you have to be that,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
But you said something so great about one quote that I love for athletes is don't compare yourself. We know comparison is the thief of joy. Yet compete with the elite.
Yeah.
That's been a huge shift for me because if I see them, I'm like, allow yourself to be like, I want to be as good as them or better than them, but like competing wise. And I think as
Yeah.
athletes, it's so helpful to be like, let's see how I can do to compete. I'm not trying to be better or them. I'm just like, let's see if I can be in the arena with them.
Yeah. Alfred Adler talks about that. I'm not sure if you're familiar with his work.
I don't know. I'm not.
Gotcha. He's a psychologist back in the day with Freud, went a little bit a different direction than a lot of the Freudian psychology. And honestly, I like it. I think you would also
Nice.
appreciate a lot of what Adler has to say.
Cool.
It's quite a bit more onerous of your story and
Mm.
your journey, and like you are the creator of your trauma. The situation might have been the trigger, but
Wow.
how you're choosing to put meaning to it is what it means.
Yes.
So if it's traumatic for you, that's traumatic because you're placing a traumatic meaning to it. Whereas when you shift the perspective, you can shift the narrative, shift the story, and change the direction. Anyway, he talks a lot about competing and how competing erodes community.
Mm.
And what he's meaning by that in his definitions of competing is that you're needing to beat them to be better than the other person. You need to be better than the other person to
Mm.
justify your value and worth. And that's only going to erode your own internal sense of belonging, where the highest form of belonging is community. And we can have community with competition when they're treated as a comrade so that we're lifting each other
Mm.
up. I don't need to beat you because if I need to beat you, then that means I need to knock you down. Let's
Yeah.
let's elevate both everybody and let's see how far we can go. Elevated energy for sure.
Yeah.
100%.
Love that, dude.
So I really appreciated that a lot because the community part resonates from a lot of different reasons.
Hmm.
And I liked how he reframed it in terms of a sense of belonging and internal sense of belonging,
Yeah.
not a I'm better than you sense of superiority complex, is what he
Yeah.
refers to it as.
That's beautiful. I love that feeling of inspired by other people. So let their whatever they're doing, it shows you what's possible, not that you
Yeah,
need to be them.
absolutely. Absolutely. 100%. And that's been a huge shift for me too, like in the sport of powerlifting, because in the past couple of years, there has been people that have come out of the woodworks that are young and it's just like, where in the world did this
Yeah.
come from? How is somebody this strong at that such a young age? It's just mind blowing the way the numbers have gone over the past couple of years. absolutely mind blowing. When I went to the national championship the first time in 2012, there was one lifter in my weight class totaling over 700 kilos.
Oh my
Now
God.
there's people in my weight class that this last year, the year before, totaled over 900 kilos. Like, what? It's just mind blowing.
Yeah.
But anyway, just like using that as that launch pad instead of going, oh, he's better than me. I suck. I'm a piece of shit.
Hmm.
Going, whoa, that exists in the human potential. What else exists? It's the
It's
4 minute mile.
that's a
When
winning
somebody does
mindset.
it,
Yeah.
it falls. So where's it at?
Yeah.
Where can I go? And
I love that because it's like wherever you are, you get to be the example for someone else. That's what I've learned from the dunk journey too. Is like if that guy didn't dunk, it might not have inspired me because he was a unique physical specimen. And then because I do it, you might inspire someone else. So it doesn't matter how much better they are. You maximize you.
100%. Yeah, man. 100%. It's beautiful.
Cool. Dude, I'm good for like 10 more minutes if that works for you. I know we had it scheduled till 3, but it would be helpful if I could just hop off in about 10.
Yeah, yeah, that works. We can start wrapping it up. I usually
Cool.
just put 2 hours in just to like capture any troubleshooting
Yeah,
difficulties
figured.
we may or may not have, but generally speaking, they end up being about an hour of recording.
Nice.
Um, and I feel like that pause was like a natural, like, oh, maybe we've run the
And
gambit.
it was good.
So, Steve, I want to be mindful of your time here today, and I know we've been chatting for a minute, and there's just tons of gold. I think for people, for me especially, there's lots of cool stuff. I can't wait for more of your music to come and see where your journey continues to take you. Is there any closing thoughts you have for people in terms of like their energy and how they can shift it, management, what it means to show up, and how they can use that
Yeah.
to elevate themselves?
Yeah. I'd say thank you, first of all, for having me. This has been so fun to connect. I can't wait to do it again. And I would just say, allow yourself to simply have fun and try not to think. So just go do something that may light you up and be open to the magic of where that takes you, because that vibration, that frequency you're in, shows you a different perspective, which shows you a different reality. And I truly believe we all have a unique expression of energy. And when you are in your highest vibration, you're going to be the greatest expression of that, which is the greatest service. And I believe we're in a new paradigm where we're uncovering, letting go of that old story that we need to do more to be more, and we could be just of service by being the best version of ourselves. And for me, that is excitement, that is passion. So I just truly hope you let yourself be fully alive. And you already know how to do it, but there's just old stories. So just go towards whatever that first step is to feeling alive.
Yeah, man. I love it. I dig it. Let that excitement be part of your guide. They talk
Yes.
about that a lot in oh, the it's escaping me right now. I can't think of it, but a lot of the manifestation work is letting that
Yes.
excitement guide you towards that thing. And why wouldn't you? Why not?
Yeah.
Like, regardless of what you believe about manifestation, why would you not let that thing that excites you pull
Yeah.
you more and more towards it? It's going to be
Totally.
a much greater experience in life. And I love that. I think that's a great place to go. I appreciate you, Steve.
Perfect.
Have a good day.
Lots of love, Ross. So much fun.
Love you too, man.
Later.